Hey everyone, in today's video I just want to give you a quick little breakdown of how to add custom materials into Fusion. So obviously we know if you've got your model and you hit A on your keyboard, we've got quite a large library of materials already pre-built in, and that there are some really good ones, but you can add in your own custom materials as well. So I just want to show you how to do that. So first of all, if you go online, there are a few websites that have these. This is one of the better ones that I've seen, Polyhaven. They've got what's called HDRIs, textures or models. We're just going to focus on textures today. There are other websites that try and charge you. You can buy your own. I wouldn't recommend it. You can normally find your own. So if you can save your own money, there's no sense doing it if you don't need to. So go on browse and then scroll down. So the first one I've picked to look at was this rock pitted mossy, just to show you because it's got quite a lot of bumps and stuff into it. If you click on it, you get to this screen and you then get what kind of files. So it gives you a kind of a look at what it's going to look like, and it will tell you what sort of files you're going to have as well. So what you can do is, to begin with, it might be on Blend. That's for if you're going to use something called Blender, which is a different software. We're not going to use Blender, we're using Fusion, so we're just going to go to zip file. We're going to have a look down, and the main ones we want is we want roughness, we want a normal, so we don't need that one. Roughness, that'll tell us how glossy or shiny things should be. Displacement, we don't need, well, I'll show you what these are anyway, and we'll download it. So I have already got these downloaded down here. So once you've downloaded it, we're then going to go into Fusion. So if you go to Modify and go down to Manage Materials, and you'll get to this screen. So you can see I've already got a few that I've randomly put in there. So make sure, so you may find you're on physical appearance, sorry, we don't want that, we want to be on appearance. Then down here at the bottom, you've got this little circle with a tick on it, click on it, or plus on it, sorry. And you've got some preset material in there. We're going to go to New Generic Material. I'll just drag it across. And you get this pop up here. So first thing is the colour we want. So we're going to click on this, and we're going to go and find the first material we want, which is that rock pitted one. Okay. And we are going to get our diffuse, which is the one that it will look like. So we're going to click on that and bring it in, and you'll find you've got this sample. You can change that sample to cube, you can change it to plane, so you can see what it's going to start to look like. So I quite like it as a cube, so you can see what it's going to look like. Now you can add things like glossiness to that. That is more if it's going to be a metallic thing. So because this is rock, it's not going to be glossy. So I'm going to bring that all the way down. As you do updates, it'll start to come out. Obviously, if something is more metallic, you bring it up there. You can also change this to see if it's metallic or non-metallic. And there's a few other little bits that you can bring in. So reflectiveness, some of these are quite self-explanatory, is how reflective do you want it to be. So you can bring that in and change sort of how reflective you want it to be. Transparency, same sort of thing. How transparent you want it to be. You can mess around with it. You can bring images into it. Cutouts we don't really use. Self-illumination, if there's any light coming out of it. The other main one we use is bump, also known as normal mapping. So we have that on there. So you can either use displacement or you can use a normal map. Now we'll try this normal map. I've not tried this one. I'm not sure if it will do the job we want. Let me just try. No, let's use our diffuse like that. Okay, and then what we can do is we can bring that right up, because this is basically telling us how bumpy it's going to be. So tell you what, let's try first of all with our normal map and see what happens, and then we're going to go on. We'll give it a name. Sorry, let's call it rock pitted mossy. Hit apply. It will appear down there. Close. Then if I hit A on my keyboard, or you can only go to modify and appearance down here, but A on the keyboard is the shortcut. It will then appear in your favorites down here. So rock pitted mossy, let's drag that in, and you'll see that I've now got my custom material in, and that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I can then, if I go to down from design, go to render, I can see what it looks like. Now I did play around with the lighting earlier, so let me just bring that down a little bit so it looks a little bit more. There we go. So you can see it looks quite realistic. If I want to play around with it, what I can do, so what you can do, for example, if you go on texture map control, if I click on the thing here, what this will do is, say for example, the material is not sitting quite right. So if you look at this now, so normally it will go to automatic, and normally automatic does a pretty good job of it, to be honest with you. But if you look at it here, you kind of see it like kind of bunches up here, which doesn't look very good. And you can see the seams sometimes as well, which we don't want. So, like I say, automatic normally does a pretty good job, but what you can do, is play around with different ones and see what they do. Okay, so planar, definitely not. Spherical, you'd think would work, but again, that kind of works. Alright, we've still got a little bit. So you see, that's what we're kind of trying to avoid, like the weird sort of like bunching of materials. That's not a good thing. Strange enough, we're using a sphere, but the one that tended to work really well was a box. Okay, because then if you look around, you can't really see those little bunchings of materials that we don't want. And if you hit OK. Now, I'm not going to render it on the video because it'll take quite a bit of time, but if I just go back, I'll show you what these ended up looking like when I rendered it. So you'll see, you get that really good look. All those cracks and everything do a bit, because it's one of those things where actually, in reality, the model is still just a perfectly smooth sphere, but adding your materials and your normal or your bump map in it gives it that 3D effect, and Fusion basically uses lights and shadows to make it look like that. So that was one. And the other one I wanted to bring in just to show you of a different kind of material as well. So let me just was a metal. So I actually went for this rusty metal that I've got. So again, comment down here, and I've got this image and we've downloaded it here. So you'll get these these 6 materials here. So the main ones always we want. I've got the fuse, which is the normal look, and the bump of the normal map. Normal maps, if you type in like normal map, you tend to get like these purpley sort of looks. That's basically telling the material how bumpy or how like 3D-ish it needs to be. So I have downloaded that, so let's go to modify and manage material. Let's add in new custom material, new generic material, sorry. Let's bring it in. Let's go to Rust Cus. First one we want our diffuse, gives it its look. This is metal, so let's bring up the glossiness a little bit. We'll go to bump, let's click on that, and let's go to our normal map. So you can use your normal or your displacement, it's fine. And we'll go on apply. In fact, I'll bring that right up. Go on apply. And I just realised I didn't save. I'll give that a name so I can change that to rusty metal. Apply. Come out. Hit A on my keyboard. Make sure I'm in favourites. And again, I got rusty metal. So let's drag that on. And it's a little bit hard to see, but if I zoom in, you can see it's got all these little sort of rusts coming in there. So let's go to render. And it's a little bit dark, and this is why I turned the lighting up earlier. Is if I go to scene settings, I can bring my lighting up a bit so you can start to see it in more detail. So it's going to blow that out a bit with lighting, but the whole point I just wanted to show you that it has that rusty metal look to it. So you can see all those little bumps to it. The other thing to show you as well is if I hit A on my keyboard, say for example, let's bring in my banana skin one from my previous video. Okay, don't ask why I have a banana skin. Oh, in fact, there's a video of it. Watch it. That's kind of messed up. We want to sort of play around with the scaling a bit. If you double click on that and go to scale, you can start to drag that to make it look more in tune with what you're after. So you can actually scale it around. I'll go on texture. Will that work? So you can see, yeah, if you look there, you can see it's sort of panels of like texture. So what I can do, hit A on my keyboard again, press the right key, and I can bring those up and play around with it until I'm happy with a texture that looks about right and we don't have as much like boxing or like tiling going on. So that's just a quick little video of how to add little custom materials. Got any questions, let me know and I will get back to you.